So what's going on, programmers? This is the second video on the Python object-oriented programming series, and in today's video we're going to be talking about class variables. Now, in the previous tutorial we talked about instance variables such as the first name, the last name, and so on. We talked about how to create instances of a class, how to initialize a class, and how to create basic functions in a class. Now, in today's tutorial we're going to be talking about class variables. Now, class variables are shared amongst all instances of a class, which means all instances of a class can actually access a class variable, and the class variable is not unique to a particular instance. Now, in our case, we're dealing with a student class, and I think a good class variable is going to be the current fee. So instead of going ahead to say current underscore fee is equal to 1,000 for each student, or saying self.current fee is equal to 1,000, I think we'd rather define this as a class variable, because for most parts you would notice that most students have the same fees except for some unfortunate irregularities or so I could go ahead to create this as a class variable. And how do I do that? I could go ahead here and I would say current fee is equal to 1,000 here, and that is okay. Let me reduce this a bit. So current fee is 1,000. Okay, so how do we assess that for each student? Now you will notice that once we change this, it's going to be the same for all students, irrespective of when the student were created. That's a student instance. Now we could go here and try, let me remove this, and we can try to print student dot current fee, and that should be accessible. I think I should make this larger. Student dot current fee. So once I run this, you would see that it's giving us 1,000 here, which means we can actually access this directly from the class itself, and we can also access this from the instance. Okay, so I could go in here and I say print. That's during the creation. It should not be done. I'm just trying to show that it works. So print self dot current fee, current fee. Okay, so let me remove this, or let me comment it out. So print self.current fee, and if I run this, you would see that we'll get 1,000 twice, because we've created two instances of the class. And you could see that that is basically how we can access the current fee, or should I say the class variable current fee. Now if I go ahead here below these lines of code, after initializing these two instances, and I say stud1 dot current fee is equal to, let's say 100. Okay, so we could go ahead and print stud1 dot current fee, and we could see try to print stud2 dot current fee. Now what do you expect we're going to be getting? Now once we change this to 100 for stud1, now it's gonna treat it as though it was should I say an instance variable, and only the stud1's current fee is gonna be changed, and stud2 current fee is still gonna be the primary current fee, which is that of the class. So once I print this, I go ahead and run this, you would see that stud1's current fee goes to 100, while stud2 still remains at 1,000, which is the default current fee for the class. And that is cool, because for some certain irregularities, the student's fee might actually decrease or increase based on previous transactions with the school, and you would want to change that for a particular student, but not for all students, because most students would be having the same fee. So that's actually a cool feature to actually have. Now we could go in this function, and we want to actually know the number of students we have. So I'm going to give number underscore of underscore studs, that's for students. Now we're going to give that as a 0, and we want to increment this every time we create a new student. So we're going to give here, now instead of saying number underscore of students plus is equal to 1, that's going to give us an error. If you run that, you get an error. So that is because it is not easily accessible this way. We have to actually specify it as self dot. We can access that through self, or we can access that through student. Okay, so we can access that through student dot number of students. Student dot number of students plus is equal to 1. Now in this case, it doesn't actually make sense for us to actually say self, okay, because the number of students is the same irrespective of the student that is created. We could go ahead and say self dot current fee and change that here, but we are actually going to stick with student dot number of students plus is equal to 1. That is actually incrementing this original one that we've got here. So we see that the current fee works. We could try to print let's clear out these lines of code, and we could try to print let's say stud1. We can access this even through the student. So student dot print student dot number of students. Now we're going to print this before and after we create the students to see what we get. So print student dot number of students, and if we run this, you'd notice that okay, student, actually, where is this? Student name error student is not defined. Okay, so student not. Okay, so once we run this, you would see that we've got 0 and we've got 2. That is because we've created 2 instances here. If we made this tree, say student tree is equal to a new student, and we give another name, Alan Walker, and we run this, you would see that we actually have 3 students here. So that is basically how to play around with, or how to work with the class variables and apply them in your real world classes to help make tasks easier, or actually make your code much more simple and beautiful. So that is it for this tutorial video. In the next video, we're going to be talking about static methods and class methods. Just as we have normal methods, we also have the static methods and class methods, and I'll be walking you through how to work with those. Now, if you like this video, you can basically help this video on this channel by clicking the like and the subscribe button, and you can share this video with whoever you think this video might be useful with by clicking on the share button below and sharing it to any platform that is very useful to you. Okay, so I'll be seeing you guys in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.